Hello and welcome to the Joe Ligato Show. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Ligato, and today we're going to be talking about a tweet by Nathan Kofos. And this tweet is on an ancient Jewish historian talking about prior times when Israel has been destroyed. And so this Jewish historian that he's talking about is Josephus, who witnessed the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE. And he wrote that for that it was a seditious temper of our own that destroyed it, talking about the destruction of Jerusalem, and that they were the tyrants among the Jews who brought the Roman power upon us, who unwillingly attacked us and occasioned the burning of our holy temple. Okay, so they're talking about the burning of the holy temple on the land that is currently the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is a major contention point for Islam, Judaism, Christianity right now. And so really interesting to see some of this history here and to see someone of Jewish descent say that the Romans really didn't want to, but they didn't have a choice here. So going on, it says history repeats. I'm not saying Jews are responsible for the diversity golem that is beginning to turn on them. So talking about all of the different factions that are making up the Free Palestine movement, which this channel believes in free Palestine from the river to the sea. But they have their share of clay and blood on their hands, is what this person is saying, Nathan Kofos, who is also of Jewish descent. Liberal Jews made a religion out of fighting imaginary Nazis while ignoring the people who said openly that they hate Jews and hate white people in general. And so he goes on to say that some arrogant Jews thought they could choose not to be white when it was convenient. Yeah, this was something that I recognized quite a bit in higher education. I would see a lot of people make disparaging remarks about white people, and I thought they were white. I did not realize at the time that those people were nearly entirely people of Jewish descent and that those people did not consider themselves to be white. And so these people put on a persona pretending to be white in order to disparage white people and in order to encourage others to disparage white people by being teachers, educators, professors, and convincing younger generations to disparage white people, including other whites. And so that was a degree of pattern recognition that it took me a few years to recognize that, yes, there are people that look visibly white saying disparaging remarks about white people, but they all came from one specific group. And so this person, Nathan Kofos, is saying that that is what is leading to the destruction of modern Israel. Because what they did not realize, from his opinion, and I would say I support this, is that yes, they say they're white when they want to be disparaging towards white people, but then they pretend like they're not white during other times in order to get benefits from that. But the thing is, other people view them as white. And so whenever you create anti-white hostility, which is very prevalent in the Western world, particularly America right now, and especially in higher education in America, then these people can't really just put on whiteness and take off whiteness as if it's a mask, because other people, the people that they made into racist people against white people, are not going to accept that. They're going to consider them to be white people, considering out of all the various white-looking ethnicities, Judaism, Jewish people are the richest of all of the different ethnicities. Then whenever people are talking about old rich white people like, say, Larry Fink or Bernie Madoff or Jeffrey Epstein, when they talk about old rich white people, they consider those people who are all of Jewish descent to be white. And so they created this anti-white hostility atmosphere, starting with places like the Frankfurt School, which fled Nazi Germany and was of all Jewish descent or 99% Jewish descent. And they created this anti-white hostility throughout the education system, which ended up trickling into every type of organization because the education system trains the leaders of the future. And so now they can't get around that sure, they still have control of the various media apparati within Western society. I don't know the plural of that term. However, people are watching and listening and believing the mainstream media, which is controlled by Zionists, less and less in modern times. And so this alternative media is more led by the people, and the people are people that they trained to hate white people. And so now they're reaping the consequences of that, which is interesting, let's say. So let's go on and read the rest of this. Now, 51% of 18 to 24-year-old Americans say it's fine to massacre Jews as long as it's for a good cause like decolonization. Half the world is threatening to gang up on 7 million Jews in Israel, and the pro-Jewish Western countries are demographically destined to go anti-Semitic. So this was a creation of Judaism. It was something that Judaism not only allowed to occur, but promoted occurring. And so I am not particularly sympathetic to the Jewish cause at this point, given what's been happening, what I saw happen in academia. And it's just been a very interesting experience these past few weeks. Very sad, obviously, for the Palestinians. But to see the Israeli Defense Force and Israel as a whole have to reap some of the consequences of the things that they've done in Western society. Okay, so let's look. Some of the biggest opponents of Jewish emancipation in the 18th and 19th century were the rabbis who wanted their people safely locked up in the ghettos. I'm not saying I agree with that, and in any case, the whole liberty, equality, fraternity thing that Gentiles came up with that made the ghetto system untenable. But perhaps the rabbis sensed that Jews would use freedom to bring disaster upon themselves, which is exactly what they repeatedly did. I don't know about that, because it does seem like the rabbinical tradition is the kind of root of the problem. So the rabbinical tradition are descendants of the Pharisees, which are, as anyone who's read the Bible knows, they're the bad guys in the Bible. And the other various traditions, denominations of Judaism were they either declined or they were wiped out intentionally. And so this Pharisees tradition that controls things, they've, how do I put this lightly? Some of their holy books, they came up with those holy books during times where they were an exploitative, elitist group within societies that they didn't view themselves as citizens of. And so their holy books, like the Talmud, are books that describe how to be really subversive elements within societies that are not your own society. And so that's where a lot of these problems come from, things like the Talmud, where just blatantly they tell you how to be a subversive element within society. And so when you're seeing things in the school system, things like various Marxist practices that were effective and various cultural Marxist practices that were effective, those come from the rabbis who wrote the Talmud, which is considered to be the oral history of God, or the oral word of God, whereas the written word of God is the Torah, so the Old Testament, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of my overview of what's going on and why I'm not particularly sympathetic to the Zionist cause, which Christian Zionists believe will bring about the Antichrist. So interesting things are occurring in the world right now. Very sad things, I don't even know how to describe it, things I never thought I would see in my lifetime. But this is the current state of the world. So hopefully this discussion about Josephus and what Nathan Kofos has to say here is enlightening to you. If you found it to be helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It helps us in the algorithm. YouTube is currently suppressing us because of the very truthful content that we are putting out there. And subscribe to our channel if you want more content. We go over everything that I believe to be contemporary, important for understanding the foundations of modern society. Thank you for watching, and if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave that in the comment box below, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.